Hello and welcome to Giant Mess, a sloppy sports and entertainment talk show that covers New York Giants football, Mets baseball, movie reviews, TV show recaps, with some funny stories and life lessons along the way. It's hosted by a Giant Mess. That's me, the real cinch, Neal Lynch. I'm an overthinker, just trying to understand every single last thing on this planet and in the universe. You can leave a voicemail at 862-BIT-1986. BIT as in bit, as in comedy, and 1986 as in the last year that the Mets and Giants won a World Series or World Championship in the same year. On today's episode, good luck, brother, trying to keep up with this list of topics. We'll talk about some life things going on in my life. So full of life I am that I need to share it with you. Dinner date with my daughter at KC Prime Steakhouse. Why Target employees stink out loud. The unfortunate situation that is my child's bike. Her first ever soccer camp. Squirts soccer. Get your head out of the gutter. I have a Banshees of Inisherin. I don't even know. Is that how you pronounce it? Banshees of Inisherin situation. I tried to install a bidet. Easy installation, they said. And then if we're lucky, if we have time, I got a lot of TV and movies that I wanted to get you my thoughts. I'm going to take my thoughts and I'm going to give them to you about these TV series and movies. You got Beef on Netflix, The Inside Job, John Mulaney's Baby J, The Mandalorian. You got movies like John Wick Chapter 4, Tetris, Murder Mystery 1 and 2, The Wrong Missy, The Call, First Reformed Predestination. I mean, Godspeed. Pray for your ears and your heart and your soul and your mind, because it's going to be sensory overload, information overload. You think I would have learned my lesson by now? No chance. So without that, let's get it started. Open Hill. The past 2 weeks have been brutal. My anger has hit an all-time high, and I'm now on a hot record streak of awkward encounters with service people. Customer service, cashiers, stock employee. Like, it's just, if you're in this customer service business, the service industry, I can't figure you out. And it's weighing on me big time. Give you some examples. Dinner date at KC Prime Steakhouse. This is a first for us, for me and the daughter. Steakhouse. I haven't been to it before. I've never taken her to a steakhouse before. I'm starting to think that she's 4. What am I doing? Like, she doesn't know the difference between McDonald's and a steakhouse. Why am I taking her to a steakhouse? Error number 1 on my part. But I figured, okay, they don't have a kids menu, strike 1, but I do remember calling them up before and saying, hey, what you got for kids? And they said sliders. And I was like, or a cheeseburger or fries or mac and cheese or chicken, whatever. And I was like, you know what? Let's roll the dice. And the waitress that we got, I know you're not supposed to guess age on ladies, on women, right? Females. It's a faux pas to do that. I'll put it this way. I'm 42. She had to be older than me. Had to be. By a good 10 years. And if she's not, she's led a life. Possibly rougher than some others. This woman, I'm not entirely sure if she's ever waited on a table in her life prior to her interaction with me. Had to be day one for this woman. Had to be day one. Had to be. There's no way you can be that at a steakhouse. How you can be this awkward. And I get it. I bring out the awkward in people. I'm awkward. I get it. You know, they say, like, people who discount vibes or energy. I am a living, breathing, walking, talking example of how vibes can affect relationships. The room, my aura sucks. full of just rage and negativity. And there's just a black cloud raining down acid, essentially, over my head 24/7. So yeah, probably not going to have the best interactions with people. I get it. But this, it's reaching an apex. I mean, I've never had a series of interactions like this in my life, and it was just one after the other for a week straight, possibly 2 weeks straight. This waitress comes up to our table and just stands there. Just stands there. Just stands there. Doesn't say a word. And I'm looking at her like, do you need a line? Like, am I supposed to feed you your line? Like, is there someone off stage who's supposed to be like giving you your line right now? Your line is, hi, I'm insert your name. I'll be your server today. What can I start you off with? Would you like a drink? None of that. Just stood there. And I was just like, do you want me? Hello? Hi? Hello there. And I actually, it was so awkward. I said, it's nice to meet you. I mean, that is how awkward this got that quickly. Nice to meet you? Never said that to a server in my life. Nice to meet you. Okay, sure. I don't think she has a child. I don't even think she has a partner in life. She might not even be human. Could be a lizard person, a robot. Tough to tell. I mean, I get it. I'm a pretty easy person to please, I think. This woman was so horrendous at her job. Like, didn't know how to talk to my daughter, didn't know how to talk to me. But then for whatever reason, she goes to other tables and I can kind of eavesdrop and overhear her talking to other tables. And I'm like, why are you? It seems like you know what you're doing over there. Bring that attitude over here. She had little to no interest in waiting on us. Every interaction was awkward and stunk. Every single one. There wasn't one that went smoothly. It was just like, I was just cringing the entire time. And every time she left the table, I was just like shocked and awed. It was Iraq 2003 all over again. Just, I was flabbergasted that this woman had a job and that she was butchering this waiting session. I can understand, like, your dog dies, you have a death in the family, terminal illness, stuff like that impacts your day. It affects how you operate. But this was very peculiar to just our table. It was like she entered the awkward zone. There was just an invisible force field around our table. And anytime she came into our little bubble, it was like she lost all training. Like she just forgot all her training. 100%. I could have sworn that my daughter was going to get the cheeseburger. Instead, she went for the mac and cheese. They brought out the mac and cheese, and this thing was freaking en fuego, dude. Like, just steam pouring out of this thing like Mount St. Helens. It was just, and like, of course, it's way too hot. And then it ends up cooling down, and she doesn't like it. And I'm like, okay, what do I do here? Because do I double down and say, get the cheeseburger, and then have her not eat the cheeseburger, and then I have the leftover cheeseburger? Or do I just get her fries? Okay, I'll order the fries. And of course, she didn't like the fries either. So 0 for 2 on dinner. I ordered a cheesesteak. Cheesesteak took like an hour to come out. And was it great? Yeah, it was one of the best cheesesteaks I've ever had in my life. But like, come on, you're a steakhouse. How do you fuck up a cheesesteak? You can't. You just can't. You lose your license if you fuck up a cheesesteak. Bree has to go to the bathroom. I'm going to approach an employee, staff member, to say, hey, where's the restroom? And she just walks by and says, have a nice night. And it's just like, no, restroom, dude. I'm trying to go to the restroom. So we go to the restroom. She pees. We come back to the table. Like 5 seconds later, she's like, I got to poop. I'm like, we got to get control over this thing. Because the whole, like, I'm glad I'm getting in my steps. That's important. 10,000 a day. Impossible. And I'm not averse to taking extra steps, but this seems ridiculous. Like, did you forget what poop's like? What that feeling is inside of you? What's going on? So I had to go back to poop. The bill was like over $80 or around $80. A tequila and club soda was $13. 13 freaking dollars. A salad was almost $20. And I know, like, I get it, man. It's 2023. It's not 2003 anymore. And I know it's old man shit to complain about prices, but I'll just never get used to it. And to think, I used to laugh like, oh, you know, when you hear my grandfather say something like, I remember when coffee was a nickel, and you laugh at your grandfather, but then you become your grandfather. You're like, I remember when coffee was $10. That's going to come out of someone's mouth at some point. I remember when a cup of coffee was $10. What are we doing? The kids' items were double digits. How do you turn families away from, and maybe this is the goal, to turn families away from this business, this restaurant, but how do you successfully turn away families? Make kids' items double digits. Why are kids' items double digits? Every kid item should max out at $9.99. And to be frank, they should be fucking free because the kids never eat them anyway. So of course Brie doesn't eat her things. I have some leftover stuff because it's just like I can't fit any more food in my gullet. I think I've punished myself enough significantly to the point where I've overeaten yet again. And so I asked this horrific waitress for to-go containers. She brings over the to-go containers and just stands there silently. And I'm like, I think this is where you talk. I don't really have anything to say to you. Do you want to say something to me? There was another waitress who came over and she's like, do you want me to box up whatever? And I was like, that'd be great. She brought over the container. She put it in the container. She boxed them up nice and neat, perfect. Mwah! Why can't I have that waitress? Why can't I have that server? Instead, I have this server who like forgot. Like, I swear she was an alien. She had to be an alien in human skin. It was literally like Under the Skin with Scarlett Johansson and or Species with Natasha Henstridge, but not sexy at all. Like, she's someone's aunt who probably has a lot of cats. She goes, you want me to box them up or you want to handle? And I was just like, just get away from me. Get away from me. And then, of course, I shouldn't talk about gratuity and tips and whatnot. It's a private thing. And I'm not in the game of super punishing, because I've been on the other end of that stick. I've told this story many times where I was a waiter. I was a horrible waiter. So, and I got multiple no tips and low tips. So I get it, but I don't want to put anyone else, other server in that same boat. I don't think I've ever done that to any other server, but I will go lowish on the low end, like 15% before tax. That to me is like my ultimate punishment. It sounds so high and mighty and fucking obnoxious, but like, if you get bad service, to reward someone and say, oh, here's 30%, keep it up. You're doing that person a disservice, aren't you? Doesn't that person have to, it's like, I don't know. I mean, you know, I didn't send any food back. I don't believe in sending the food back, but I tipped 15% before tax, and you know, not tremendously high, but I felt like that was the level of effort she gave. And she knew that I paid with a card, and yet still saw me take the card out of the little folder thing and stood there and looked at what I tipped her in front of me and my kid. Like, I mean, we're never going back there again. I mean, yeah, maybe I'll take, I don't even go on dates, so I can't take a date there. Maybe I'll go solo and personally request that server and be like, round 2, let's see what you got. Maybe it was the kid. Did the kid throw you off? No, there's no kid. Let's see what you got. Yeah. So then my daughter had the balls to ask for a cookie after just not eating dinner. I mean, you got to shoot your shot, right? That's important. You know, you'll never know unless you ask. But Jesus Christ, you didn't eat any dinner and you want a cookie? The whole thing, you know, like when I say at dinner, like if you want this, you need to eat your dinner. Kind of a similar situation. I know we dined out, but same rules apply. Ugh. Yeah, so I that place stunk. I mean, the food's great. Although I did end up eating her leftovers, I think that Sunday. And I mean, you can't mess up broccoli because I had ordered a side of broccoli and you can't mess that up. So they didn't. And then the fries were all right. You know, they're not like the ultra crispy crunchy, but I don't mind that. I'm not like a huge fry snob that way. The mac and cheese legitimately was awful. Was I don't know what happened, but and I've never had this happen with mac and cheese before. And maybe it's been a while and mac and cheese done changed. But you eat the mac and cheese and there's like a thin or thick film that is not only on my fork, but on my teeth. It was almost like someone had melted gum and there was just melted gum all over my teeth and my fork. It was just like, oh, how do you fuck up mac and cheese? You done did it. Another example of an awkward encounter. And these things stick with me and I really wish they didn't. I went to Target. I'm already in a mood, trying to like find products that are, for whatever reason, in Target are so hard to find. And they only have like 2 kiosks that help you in the whole friggin' store. And trying to like look, and there's a box in my way. So I just push the box aside with my foot so I can keep going. And I can hear the employees that are like gossiping in the aisle that I didn't see, that would be like scoff and be like, ugh, and like give me a dirty look and move the box back in the middle of the aisle so people can't get by. It's like, oh, okay. I didn't know that this is an official police roadblock that you got set up here. Is there trouble ahead on the bridge? Hurricane coming? Okay. Yeah, and so they proceeded to talk shit about me, which is fantastic. That's just par for the course. I didn't do self-checkout. I went and stood in a line, and I get up to the cashier. This cashier didn't look at me once and didn't say a single word to me once the entire checkout. Friend came over, shot the shit with her friend, didn't say a word to me or look at me. Is that crazy? Yeah, I guess it's crazy. There's just for me, there's an expectation of like, hi, how you doing today? I'm doing good. How are you? All right, cool. Will you find everything you need? Yeah, I think I did. Like I don't know if it's the pandemic or what. Like I know that my social skills went to shit. You know, it's just you're cooped up in the same house apartment with the same person, same people, for 2 years straight, a year and a half. Your brain rewires itself a little bit and you forget how to act. I feel like that happened to everyone because I have not had a normal interaction since the pandemic. I don't even know if it's I guess it's ended, right? It's going to end soon. I don't know. But listen, I'm not going to sit here and say that you should have a fake plastic insincere plastic fake smile on your face and act fake. But damn, man, it doesn't make me feel good. And I understand I'm not making you feel good. I don't make anyone feel good. So I empathize, but at the same time, like, fuck, man. The cashier at Starbucks, there's a Starbucks in the Target, was mumbling the whole time. I can't, and my ears, like, tell me you're old without telling me you're old. I can't hear shit anymore. And with everyone, with the masks that the people are wearing at the checkout, it's just like, I'm fucked. And then I got to say, I'm sorry, excuse me, what? And they mumble it again. And I'm just like, yes to whatever you said. I don't know. I'll deal with the fallout. I just can't. All it takes is me to say what again? Could you speak louder? Could you speak more clearly? But I can't put in that kind of effort, that level of effort. So the anger thing is a problem. I don't know if you picked up on that. And it boiled to a head 2 weekends ago. I had my daughter for 9 to 10 days straight, which I completely forgot about on that Monday when I went into work and then realized, oh, snap, I looked at the calendar. I have my daughter tonight. I need to get back and pick her up. So I had to leave work early to pick her up. And every day I just forget something else with her. I mean, the level of crap that she has to bring to school and that you have to remember every day is unreal. And I hope to God this is not the case next year when she enters kindergarten. Lunch bag water bottle, backpack, show and tell item, jacket, knapsack. You know, it's like a fucking 10 things. Hey, Neal, all you have to do is make a list and tape it to the door. I guarantee I'll do that, and I still won't look at it. Too much stuff going on up here, up in the dome. But the anger has been an issue, and I recognize that. I'm self-aware. And so I've been going on a binge trying to find stuff to calm me down. Like, I bought something called Calm Aid. And then I also bought something that's just straight up called Calm. So I take the Calm Aid, which apparently is just lavender, and then Calm capsules, which is a magnesium supplement. And then I have a lavender. I'm burning the midnight oil, aka the essential oil lavender, when I go to bed. And it harkens me back. I feel like I'm at like an old church lady's apartment now, because it's like these fucking essential oils are diffusing everywhere, all in an effort to calm me down. I went to get indica from the Zen Leaf, the dispensary down the street on Route 1. And indica helps me sleep. The other stuff is all right, but the indica works 10 out of 10. The little, they call them lozenges, but you don't suck on, I guess you could suck on them, but you chew them. They're like edibles. And so I usually do half of that, and it's good to go for the night. On weekends, I might do a full one, because it's like, fuck, what do I got to do? If I don't have my daughter, I'm just gonna sleep in, if that's okay with you. Even the interaction at the friggin' weed place, awkward. It's just like, I go up there, and comedians have done this bit before. This is not original. So just file, like, warning, fair warning, preface. This is not original. But like, I go up and I know what I want. I want the Verano Indica lozenges. He says, he mumbles, of course, or I can't hear him. Maybe it's muffled on my end, probably. He goes, Berry Burst? And I was like, what? I want the Verano Indica lozenges. He goes, Berry Burst. And I'm like, I don't know what the fucking Berry Burst, like, I have to say Berry Burst now? Like, you seem to know what I'm talking about, but you want me to confirm Berry Burst? Like, the fucking flavor is what's going to throw me off, dude. There's only one flavor of the Indica Verano lozenges, my man. They're Berry Burst. So what else could it be? I told you I want the Indica Verano lozenges. And this dude had tattoos, and I think he just saw me and immediately hated me from the jump. It was just like, I fucking hate this dude. And I'm willing to turn away his business, because look at this place. We're overflowing with people. We don't need your $60. So that was awkward. It was just like, and then he just hands me the bag, and I was just like, thanks, have a good night. And he was just like, yeah. Okay. And of course, Zenleaf sends the customer survey afterwards. And it's like Target sent me a survey. Like, everyone's giving me a survey after I used their product or service. And every time I just want to be like, it fucking sucked. But then what happens? Does the guy get fired? What happens? What does me saying it sucked gonna do? It's not gonna do shit. I think I don't even know if I submitted it, but the Target survey was just like, well, how was your experience in our store? And I was like, oh, it was orgasmic. Your employees talk shit about me because I moved away a box that was in the middle of an aisle as I was trying to get by with my daughter in my cart. And then the cashier checkout lady just didn't even fucking acknowledge my existence. It was the best. So yeah. I was just in a pissy mood. We come back to the apartment, and I'm like, it's a really nice day out. How about you ride your bike? And she actually agreed. And I was like, all right, cool. Maybe things are changing, because, you know, she's been on the bike twice now, and she's hated it both times. And it's just like, is my kid ever gonna like riding a bike is like, I mean, Jesus, dude, that's the epitome of childhood. That's like one of the best feelings, experiences of childhood, of growing up, is like riding a bike. I can just ride a bike. It's the precursor to getting your driver's license. You get to operate a vehicle. You get to go fast, Ricky Bobby style. and she's just not having it. I've never seen a kid ride a bike slower than this. I could have crawled on my hands and knees backwards faster than this fucking kid was going on her bike. I've never seen it. Now, we go down to her cousin's house. They have vehicles galore at this friggin' place. And I see her going fast on these other vehicles. They're not bikes, right? You sit in it. You don't really have to pedal too much. You can coast down the hill. She's fine. Here, with a bike with minimal inclines and declines, she's petrified. Petrified. And I was like, I started to like gently push her on the back, nudge her on the back, like, hey, all right, come on. Let's get going. And no. She says, no, Daddy, don't push me. Don't push me. Like, I don't want to go fast. And I'm like, if you went any slower, you'd be going backwards. You're not even, there are snails passing you on your left. On your left, snail coming in hot. And of course, the moment she starts to go fast is when, folks? Right at the busiest intersection of the apartment complex with a car coming barreling down. And I was just like, oh, well, she somehow fell. The first, like, this bike has training wheels. She's going 0.0000001 miles per hour. Somehow fell. Don't know how that's possible. And then this is the third time she's going like so slow and somehow rolls out in the middle of the intersection with a car coming. And of course, she stops short. The car stops short. And of course, the driver gives me a fucking look like, hey, don't be such an asshole, dickhead dad, you deadbeat. And I'm just like, yep, that's me. I made that happen intentionally. And so she ended up getting off the bike after that because it's like she just saw her 4-year-old life flash before her eyes. And I'm like, you know what? I get it. If you never want to ride the bike again, I fucking get it. I need to sell the bike and get this disaster out of my life because it's been haunting me that I got you this really nice bike, like so stupidly nice bike, like unnecessarily nice bike. Why did I do that? Why? Compensating much? Yeah, dude. Yeah. Just a little bit. And so she ends up going to the playground. She runs into this other kid who she's hung out with before. And she's like, oh, this is my best friend. And I'm like, yeah, sure. Yeah, of course. Yeah. What's her name? You don't even know her name. And so the kid starts asking about her bike. The kid comes over, is like, can I ride her bike? And I just straight up, without blinking, batting an eye, smiling, just said, no, sorry. Like stone face. And the kid was like, whoa. And just like walked away. I was just like, where is your mom? Why is this happening? I'm expected to watch you now too. Like you're about my daughter's age. You also have a younger sister who's like 2 or 3. Where the fuck is your mom? Why am I expected to watch these kids? Where are the parents? I think I mentioned this before, but like it's absurd that these kids run wild and free. Like free range kids, just all over the place. Cage free kids. Organic. Gluten free. And I'm sitting there going, I don't know if I'd be able to do that. And it's insane for me to say because I definitely remember being like 8 maybe and like taking my bike to my friend's place, like riding my bike to my friend's place, like down the street, around the block, like not within view of our house. So maybe 8 is the age. I can't in good conscience just sit like not watch. I don't know. It just bothers me. Like I'm like the kid's got like hanging off the monkey bars, and I'm like, if this kid falls, cracks her skull, I'm the one responsible because I'm an adult. Cool. Like that's the way to go. That's how that ends up. Like, oh, have you kept up with Neal? Do you know where Neal's been? He's in like he's broke, lost his apartment, his job. He's in a gutter. What happened? Oh, some strange kid was on the monkey bars, cracked skull. He was watching. Let it happen. Just in a foul mood. Raising my voice a lot. I say yell sometimes when I'm talking about it, but I don't know. Maybe sometimes it's yelling, but most of the time it's just raising my voice. Like her playing with her food and taking forever to eat her chicken nuggets. I lost it. Her room was an absolute disaster. There was stuff everywhere. I lost it. I just kept losing it. It was just like, and I kept saying, like, is this a red choice or a green choice? Red choice, green choice. And she acknowledges it's a red choice. And it's just like, I feel like and then I don't know if for anyone who thinks that social media and your phone is not listening, 1,000% is, because I'm concerned about how I'm yelling. And then I see every other friggin' ad on Twitter and Instagram is like, yelling at your kids. Here are the negative side effects. Like, download our ebook and sign up for our course on positive parenting, blah, blah, blah bullshit. Cool. So never yell at your kids. Got it. Cool. Sunday was a tough day. April 23rd is my niece's birthday. I got her some Harry Potter Lego thing and like a game called Do You Know Your Family? Because I remember we were in the car coming back from the Monster Truck Rally show, and she was like or maybe it was on the way there, and she was asking us all these questions, and I feel like she was trying to get to know us. And I was like, oh, okay, makes sense. And I don't know if she liked them or not. I don't know. I'm so bad at giving gifts, and the streak, the slump continues. It was also my sister's wedding anniversary. I think they went to Great Wolf Lodge, which we've taken Bree, my daughter, to before when she was legitimately 1.5 years old, if that. I don't know when I can take her again. I like it. It's tough taking her places and her not remembering, but yet bringing up shit from legit like 1.5 years, 2 years ago that I did. Okay, remember when you did that? I was just like, solid memory, bro. Solid memory. Like I can't tell you how many times we've gone out to dinner, come back, and she goes, "What are we gonna have for dinner?" It's like, bro, could you rewind for like an hour and just try and place yourself? Where was I in the past hour? Anyway, April 23rd is also the 1-year anniversary of my me finding out that my ex is back with her ex-boyfriend from college, and I had a nuclear meltdown and unfollowed everyone that is affiliated with her, along with her, on every social media platform. Fantastic. So it's been quite a year. That was another low point in my life. Like September, October 2021, probably the lowest point in my life. And then, I mean, I don't know. It's hard to argue. So many bad moments. But yeah, April of last year was that was a rough time. So am I better? So incrementally better. Can you feel it? Squirt soccer. So I'm actually glad about this, though. We finally, as co-parents, quote unquote, which I fucking hate that term, we finally came to the decision to sign my daughter up for a sport, an activity, something that gets her out of the house on weekends and helps her to engage with others and whatnot and get into sports, because I'd like to get her into sports. I'm not saying that she's got to be great at sports, but like just being on sports teams, I think helps to a certain degree. I kind of think that sports actually really screwed up my life, but that's me. I like to blame others and not myself. I'm a victim. Yes? No? Anyways, we signed up for this soccer camp or whatever. It's called Squirts. I mean, horrible name, just straight up. Like there's so many names out there and you went with Squirts. Like there's no way around it. Like Squirts soccer, like you gotta be better than that. You have to be. And I tell people and they're like, I'm sorry, what? They think I'm being lewd and lascivious. And it's like, nah, dude, that's an official name, Squirts Soccer. And what I love about this soccer camp is it's like so far away from me. It's near my ex-wife's place, beyond the university. And what I love about driving to that neck of the woods is that it's 25 miles per hour the entire time. And there's crosswalks everywhere and everyone's out and about because it's springtime, which is the right time to walk and get out. And so I'm going like 35 because yes, whatever. dude. Yep, I am an a-hole. Yep. And the amount of people that just kind of just get out there to just like risk their life and limb to just cross these crosswalks when it's like you could have just waited like 2 seconds, but it's like law. There's a sign, stop for pedestrians, and it's on every single block, every corner. And so I just stopped short twice. They just briskly walk out in the middle of the road like they're invincible. And then they give me a look when I stop short, and I was like, would you rather I like hit you? Is that what you're looking for? You're looking for easy money, cash money, a neck brace, and a lawyer? Like, what are you looking for here? What's the end goal? Do you have a death wish? She liked it. She liked soccer camp. She used her hands constantly. She just didn't get the concept of like, even no matter how much you say you can't use your hands, you have to use your feet. Kick. It's just doesn't. She's competitive, which is great, I think. But also like you're cheating. Like, oh, maybe she's just a goalie. I think that's what it is. Because like I said, there is one position where you can use your hands, and it's goalie. So I'm thinking maybe she just becomes a goalie. Like feet kicking, not in your wheelhouse. Hands, maybe more your shtick. So afterwards, she got a blue raspberry Italian ice as a nice little reward for going to, because, when we woke up that morning, I let her sleep in my bed Saturday night. And when we woke up Sunday morning, she goes to the potty, and then she's like, I don't want to go to soccer. And I was just like, I mean, you can't do this to me. You can't. It's literally the first day. This is the first one. We signed up for it. It costs us money. Like, you're gonna get a shirt. Like, you gotta go. But she enjoyed the Italian ice, the blue raspberry Italian ice, which was so large. It was a small, but it was large. And then there's a playground near there, which is great. She went to the bathroom twice again, where she peed, came out, and then 5 seconds later had a poo, which was great. So again, we gotta figure that out. We just gotta figure it out. I'm not good at this. I'm just not good at the parenting thing. I'm just not a good dad. I don't think. I don't know. Like she played games on her, like there comes a, like, I'm not good at playing with her, playing pretend, but she did a good job of playing with herself, by herself, while I just decided, you know what, I think I've hit my limit for the weekend, so I'm just going to watch TV. And she ended up playing games on the iPad, and there was a dress up game, and she got upset, like very upset during this dress up game, and on the iPad, and I just had to take it away. And I was just like, you know what I can do that I feel comfortable and confident about? Puzzles. And so I was just like, I'm just going to keep throwing puzzles at you. Jigsaw puzzles. So we did like 3 or 4 puzzles. And by the end of it, it's like I was doing them by myself, but and then she'd come in for like the final piece and be like, "Can I help you, Daddy?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, could really use your help with this one." And then she would put the final piece of the puzzle, and she'd be like, "I did it." And I'd be like, "Yeah, nah. What was the lesson here? What am I teaching? Should I teach her? No, you didn't do it. Like it was a joint effort." And I know that I don't know for a fact, but I have a pretty good feeling that my ex, her mom, just lets her do a lot more than I do, which I don't want to be the strict disciplinarian, but it's just like, I guess that's kind of what it has to be. It maybe doesn't have to be that way, but we tried to watch this Play-Doh Oddly Satisfying channel on Roku. Disturbing as all hell. I mean, I'm sure if I had popped an edible, it would have been entrancing, but like what the kid, when the fart noises, like even she looked at me and she was like, this is bonkers. So we turned that off. Then she wanted to watch Little Nastia, and I'm like, I'm already have like preconceived notions about little kids YouTubers that are rich beyond their wildest dreams. Like that bothers me to no end. Just like kids trying to act smart and act like adults in commercials also bothers me. little Nastia, and I'm just like, from the thumbnail, I'm like, all right, I guess whatever. She can relate to this girl who's probably gonna do whatever. And the first 5 seconds of the first video is like, she's not speaking English. Like she's dubbed over English. So I assume she's Russian or something like that. Sounds like a Russian name. And she's like, where is everyone? And she's just by herself in her home or her house. And I was like, this is like To Catch a Predator vibes. Like, I don't think I need to be subjecting her to that. So I was like, no, that's also disturbing. Raised my voice at her in the bath. I raised my voice at her at bedtime. She was just talking and moving. And I was just like, all these things I'm doing right now, the nice, warm, relaxing bath, reading a book, singing a song, are to get you to calm down and to go to sleep. These are all strategically in place for you to close those pretty little eyes of yours and fade off into Slumberville. And she was just like, I want my mommy. And I was like, yeah. Everyone wants mommy. Yeah. I will say this, though. Mr. Clean Magic Erasers are the bomb.com. I remember we used it at the old house, and I was like, I almost forgot how good they are. Because there was the bathroom, the bathtub looks like a murder scene. Like the shower looks like a murder scene because my daughter has drawn like with crayons all over the bathroom walls, the shower walls, the tiles. And it's just like, oh, this is where Ted Bundy lives, Ed Gein, like just looks like a psycho serial killer lives here and is like planning out the next victim. So using that Mr. Clean Magic Eraser was phenomenal. And then all last week was just felt like nonstop work because there was like all these Q1 presentations. So, and everyone left and right, up and down from work was requesting data and reports and whatnot. And it's just like, I know this sounds like an easy request on your end, but it's not. It's not. So I was working at midnight Monday night, worked to 11-ish on Wednesday night. I had my so if you're wondering like, hey, Neal, maybe you should talk to someone. Like I haven't heard that a million times over the past, I don't know how, year, 2 years, 3 years, 15 years. You need to talk to someone. You need to talk to someone. You need to talk to someone. That someone's not me. Like you can't talk to me. That's for damn sure. You need to talk to someone. That someone is not me. And so I end up going back. I'm back in therapy, which is so awesome. I love it. Had one therapist accuse me of hating all women right off the jump within 5 minutes of talking to him. I had my last therapist said that I'm probably autistic or have Asperger's, which is that's good. It's good to hear. That's just another. Yeah, let's just add that to the list. Anxious, depressed, anger, Asperger's, autism, night terrors. Cool. Anyway, it was, I like this therapist. She's actually really nice, but there was one moment where I was just like, she's, there's always that question, how many drinks do you have in a week? And I was like, all right, well, I don't really drink during the week. And then I'll drink on the weekends, She's like, well, so how many are you thinking? I'm thinking, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. 12 to 24. And she just goes, yikes. And I was like, oh, wow. That's actually, I think I lowballed it. But like 28 per day, I guess is a lot. Yeah. But 12 for the weekend? We're talking like 4 per day or 6 per day if you just do Friday and Saturday. I almost felt like saying, I wish I could get you the numbers from college because you'd pass out. So that was my first therapy session since last May. And we'll see. It's just like I've been so, and I said this in the session, I was just like, Therapy to me is a lot like life or work right now for me, where it's like, it feels like going back to sports, playing sports, and why it's important and why I think it might have messed with my psychology a little too much, or my takeaways from it are just the wrong takeaways. Like sports, there are rules, clear cut rules. You break the rule, you get a foul, a penalty, blah, blah, infraction, whatever. Your goal, put the ball in the basket, put the puck in the net, hit the ball and don't have it get caught. Hit a ball over the fence. Take this ball and cross over that line. You get points. The more points you get, the better. You want to score more points than the other player, blah, blah, blah. It just makes sense. And then you get into the workforce and it's just like, there's no orientation. They hand you this fucking employee handbook. No one walks you through it. You're just expected to read 200 pages of an employee handbook and know the policies and rules that are particular to that company inside and out. You also don't know any of the players in the organization. I guess you're just expected to kind of get out there and introduce yourself to the 200 people that you're going to work with. And I love how people also say first names to you as if you're supposed to know it. Like, oh, that's Jessica and Rob. Just connect with Jessica and Rob. And it's like, okay, but there are like 50 Jessicas here and there's like 20 Robs. So can I get a last name? So that kind of like that much, so that's what I'm dealing. I'm unable to deal with ambiguity and lack of clarity. But the anger thing has got to stop. I've never been more angry. And like, it's crazy the timing of everything. Like I watched the TV show, Beef on Netflix. Okay. It's with Ali Wong. I want to say Stephen Young. He was in Nope. And he was also in Sorry to Bother You, I believe. Awesome actor. I love him. Andrew Santino's in it. Really great series. But it's all based off of I think it's 8 episodes, maybe 10 episodes. And it also, the inciting incident, right, that kicks everything off, that gets the plot going forward, is like a road rage incident where he's trying to back out of a parking spot. A woman's coming fairly fast behind him. She stops short. She honks her horn. He yells. She gives the finger. He's like, enough is enough. And he follows her. They get in this like crazy chase through people's yards. They're tearing up people's yards. And she ends up getting away, quote unquote, or, evading him. But it spirals from there and it all snowballs from there. And where, spoiler, like people end up dying and like, it just really unravels to a crazy level. And then the ending is, I don't want to spoil the ending for anyone, but like, all I know is if someone tries to push me down a ravine, I'm not cozying and cuddling up to them in their hospital bed after they get shot. And maybe that's what's wrong with me. Like when I'm looking for someone to be a partner, maybe I should be looking at, because I watched Ghosted on Netflix, Apple TV too. And it's like when Chris Evans first meets Ana de Armas, there's like a lot of arguing between them. And then everyone's like, oh my God, you two should get a room. And it's just like, have I been going about this the wrong way? Like, should I be trying to find a partner that just wants to argue with me and butt heads all the time? I always view that as like, oh, well, we're just too different and we disagree. And so we shouldn't be together because this is driving me fucking bananas. I don't know. But I had a beef situation go on. I was pulling out of the Princeton Junction station. I hate the setup for it, the way it's set up. It just doesn't make any sense ergonomically, scientifically. Like the way the parking lots are set up, it's just like, this is just a recipe for disaster. And of course, I pull up over the train tracks and there's like a 3-way stop and it's all one way. And so I pull up and stop, and I thought I saw the guy across from me stop after I did. And then I know that the guy to the left of me, typically I would go if we had all stopped at the same time, right? That's how I was taught. If you all stop at the intersection at the same time, you acquiesce, or you allow the person to your right to go. And so I'm the person to the furthest right. And so, but I thought I was after the guy to my left. So he goes, and then I immediately like pull in after him. And then the dude, guess what he's driving? A friggin' Beamer, of course. So he pulls out, almost crashes into me. But I'm like, I don't know what you're doing. Like, I had the right of way because I got here before you. So then I go after him and blah, blah. He like completely like all the way out, to the exit of the parking lot is up my ass. And then I had the windows down because it was actually nice out. It hasn't been nice in a dog's fortnight. But so I have my windows down. He pulls up next to me, stops his car, rolls down his window, and yells "asshole" out at me, and then peels out and takes a right. White BMW, Pennsylvania license plates. So if you see a white BMW with Pennsylvania license plates, do me a favor and key their car. Just do that for me, and I will pay the bail. I will pay the ticket, whatever you need me. I will be a witness in court. Can you imagine if I had like thousands of fans, millions of fans, and they all went out, and if they saw a white BMW with Pennsylvania plate, they would key the car. Neal's Army. No, it's not going to happen. Also, if the one of 5 people listening to this does that, don't do it. Just don't do it. I mean, I had a nightmare about. I just went and like keyed a whole parking lot of cars. I just saw a bunch of just the expensive ones. Like I just saw a bunch of expensive cars, and I just keyed every single one of them. And then all of a sudden there was like someone was missing, and like my mother-in-law was there, or my ex-mother-in-law. I don't even know. I guess it's my ex-mother-in-law, and like chicks from high school that I knew. And they're all like, oh, this person went missing, and also someone keyed her car. And I was just like, well, what's the bigger issue here? It feels like the missing person is that we should focus on the missing person and not so much the car is getting keyed. But every day I go to the parking lot and I look for a white BMW with Pennsylvania plates, and I found one, and I was like, but doesn't seem like the exact model. So I need to pay closer attention. But I was like, if I hadn't watched Beef on Netflix, I think maybe my reaction would have been different. Like I would have decided, you know what, today's the day that I don't let that slide. So yeah, it's the memory stinks, and the anger is becoming an issue. But I think with the 1,000 calm supplements I have in my floating through my system, it should help, I guess, right? So I mentioned Banshees of Inisherin. If you haven't seen the movie, I haven't seen the movie, but I know the synopsis, I know the plot, where it's Colin Farrell and the other dude. They were both in Bruges, that movie. And I guess in this movie, they played 2 best friends, and the one best friend is like, I don't want to be best friends with you anymore. Please don't talk to me anymore. Like, I want to end our friendship. That's that. And the other friend can't understand why and keeps pursuing it and is like, no, I'm not going to let you do this. This is ridiculous. We've been friends for 20, 30, 40, 50, whatever years. You can't just do this. Like, why are you doing this? And so from what I hear, and I don't want to spoil it for anyone, but like the lengths that the one friend goes to get his other friend to stop talking to him are pretty extreme. So I had not exactly the same situation, but it is interesting that movie came out. And then like, I'm kind of going through a similar thing right now where my friend, like I had to write him an email, and I know that's so lame. Like, cause he calls me and he texts me, and he like the simple act of calling, the gestures, right, are appreciated. The calls and the texts, the reaching out to see how I'm doing is great, but it's almost like he does it when he's bored, or when he's on the shitter, or when he's trying to kill time. It's never like Like he'll ask questions and then I'll be like, not even halfway through the answer. And he'll be like, and he'll make some comment or like, Jesus, you sound like you're going to kill yourself. Or like, you should just go out and get some strange, dude. And I'm just like, and that conversation happened time after time again. I can't even tell you. It's every time on the phone, in text, I was just like, I don't think this dude gets it. You know, he's married. He has a daughter, slightly older daughter than mine. But it's, you know, he's still married, but he just doesn't. It's just like, and he's out in Vegas. So it's like, you know, Vegas is a different animal altogether. I'm in friggin' Princeton, and I'm not even in Princeton proper. I'm like West Windsor. I'm in a section that's like no man's land, essentially. Like I don't belong to West Windsor or Princeton. But I just had to write him an email because I was like, I do my best. Like I wanted to make sure I'm writing it in a way that is not rushed or feels rushed or whatever. It's just like, get all my thoughts into this email. I can edit it. I can word it correctly, and I can really get the message across. Yeah, I'm really laying out the cards. Like, dude, I'm fucking angry. I'm depressed. I'm anxious. And I'm sick of it. It's going on for too long. And like every time you call and text and we talk, like I get angrier. And it's like getting worse. The depression, anxiety. You're not making me feel worse. You're making me feel, making me feel better. You're making me feel worse. That kind of thing. And I was like, I appreciate like when we hung out in high school, when we talk about hooking up with chicks, because it was like I wasn't doing it and I didn't think you were doing it, but apparently you were doing it. But like it was just, dumb stuff. And then we were in college and it was like you're on a football scholarship and you're crushing life. And I was thinking about transferring. I was having issues. Like I've always had damn issues, dude. So it's nothing new. This has like been going, the never ending struggle, but like was struggling in college. Didn't seem like you were struggling in college. Get out of college and I meet some new friends and I'm introducing new friends and you're just like not having it and they're not having you. And I'm just like, oh, okay, well, that's not going to work. And then it moves away and it's like, I remember I was kind of dating this one girl and he ends up like trying to grind with her on the dance floor at a bar. It's just like, I understand that you don't think that this is serious, but like, I do value this relationship. We ended up breaking up, but like at the time it was like, what do you, this is like not friendly dancing. This is the first time you've met this girl and you're trying to like grind with her and stuff. It just feels a little off. So yeah, I was like, I appreciate everything we've been through and talked about and done, but like, I just got to ask you to stop. Like I got to ask you to stop. And I know what you're saying. Like, why are you airing your dirty laundry? I'm just trying to walk you through what's going on right now. It's just like, I'm trying to, I guess the main takeaway is like, I'm trying to get better. And maybe talking through this on the podcast, talking through this with my therapist might help. I don't know. What's the alternative? I don't know. I see a fucking article every day about loneliness and how it's 10 times worse than smoking. Are you kidding me, dude? Are you kidding me? I can't just be alone. God damn it. The equivalent of smoking? I almost want to prove them wrong and be like, all right, I'm going to be active as hell. I'm going to hang out all the time. I'm going to smoke my dick off. And that's going to be better than me just like hanging out by myself and watching movies. Sure, why not? So the last part of this life section is this bidet. The bidet from hell. I ordered a bidet from Squatty Potty. I ordered a Squatty Potty, which I appreciate. I like it. It helps my digestion. And then I was like, you know what? I'll get a bidet too because I like the bidet. I like it. I don't know. It helps. Okay. Tried the first attempt to install it back, I don't know, a few months ago. It's like, make sure that you tighten the nut so it's flush with the thing, but don't over tighten. And of course I over tightened and broke it. And so I wrote them and I was like, hey, listen, your directions are a little suspect. I'm not appreciating the directions you're giving me. And they're like, all right, well, we apologize. We're going to send you another one. So I was like, cool. Send me another one. I'm like, and I was dreading installing it because I was like, I'm not going to be able to do this. And of course, you open the box and it's just like splattered messaging all over the box. Easy installation. 1, 2, 3. Easy installation. It took me an hour and a half, 2 hours, and my bathroom was soaked with toilet water, just on the walls, on the floor, on me, on the door, on the mirror. It was just toilet water everywhere. Easy for who? I guess easy is a really subjective term and they can just throw that on there and not get sued, but goddamn. I wanted to document the whole thing and be like, easy installation. Who's the jackass who wrote that on that freaking box? It's like Tommy Boy. Like, you can slap guarantee on a box, but you can stick your head up a bull's ass, but when you want to take the butcher's word for it, I don't know. But goddamn, like, no, it's not easy. And so it's like Sunday night and it's like 8 or 9 o'clock at night. And so I ended up calling maintenance. They don't pick up. And I'm like, this is going to get ugly if I can't stop this freaking leak. Like, I don't know how long I'm allowed to turn off the water supply. That's another issue. And if I keep it on and I have to take a piss right now, much less going 2. It's going to get like shantytown in here real quick if I got to go number 2 with this toilet like banged up. I'm supposed to go into work tomorrow. And like, if I can't because of a toilet, like it's just the rumor mill will start working overtime. So yeah, luckily the maintenance guy called back. Doesn't speak English very well. English is a second language for him. And I can't hear very well. So he comes in and sure enough, took this dude 5 minutes maximum to fix it. He like comes in. He's like, I think he said it was loose. And I was like, well, yeah, I just loosened it because I'm trying to like disassemble it so that I can reassemble it the right way. Cause apparently it felt tight as hell. Like I'm turning the wrench and it doesn't want to turn anymore. And like the thing inside the friggin' toilet, whatever you call it, back of the toilet is turning and breaking. And like the hose came off at one point and that was squirting everywhere. Oh, so I can have a fucking clean butthole, dude. 5 minutes. The guy was in and out. He said some stuff. He was kind of like laughing at me, which, all right, I guess, sure. So I felt like $1 million goddamn dollars after that. Like, yeah, can't even install a simple bidet. And trying to find answers through YouTube videos with these guys who are just, I guess they're at the point at the skill level and so professional that it's just like everything is assumed. But it's like, just slow it down a little bit. Slow it down a little bit, you know? Can't believe I screwed that up. I went through my entire pantry closet of towels, just throwing them down. Like, all right, hopefully this is not leaking into my neighbor's place downstairs. It sounds like the pipe is going to explode, which is great. And I probably have 15 different strains of some kind of bacteria or virus all over me, which is awesome. But I don't know, dude. I thought I was doing it right. And it's like, how is this still leaking? I had that tight, the white thing against the thing. And then you have the thing connected to the thing. And it just kept leaking. And I expected it to happen to him. And I was like, it's got to happen to him. There's no way I can struggle for almost 2 hours and have it not happen to him just so you just want to be justified, right? Verified. You just want to be validated. Like, see, this is the problem. I'm glad you're seeing the problem. You're facing what I can face. Now you apply your expert level knowledge to get it done. That didn't happen. He was just like, and it was just like, yep, you're good to go. And I was just like, this feels like those moments where it's just miraculously stopped for like the minute he was there. And then the moment he leaves and gets in his truck to go away, it's going to start again. Luckily it didn't, but I felt like such garbage afterwards. It's like, I can't even do that right. So yeah, it's life. Let's talk TV and movies. If you're up for it. TV, I mentioned Beef on Netflix. What a wild show. Dark comedy. As I mentioned, it's a road rage incident that just takes on a life of its own and snowballs, avalanches into all kinds of mayhem and craziness. Hopefully you've seen it. If you haven't, I want to say it's a must watch pretty much. Ali Wong, Stephen Young. And it is cathartic in a way, especially for someone like me that has these anger issues. Like definitely, is good to see that like, it's not just you, like it's infectious. It's out there. It's spreading like wildfire. So I don't know. I want to talk spoilers though. God damn. I will say this, Ali Wong. Whoa, dude. The sex scenes with the brother. God damn. Ali Wong. God damn you. Doing things to my mind and my body. Whoa. That was a bit unexpected. I mean, I've watched her stand-up comedy, so I feel like I have a pretty good sense of that. But then you see her actually like engaging in that stuff, and you're like, oh, okay, you're not fucking around. Like you are for real, and you are a spectacle. You are something to behold. So yeah, very. That was cool. It was cool to watch and experience. I didn't understand the one part where like they do the flashback to like 2008, and I guess it's when Obama was getting either election night when he won or when he was being inaugurated or something. And she was like under the covers, under the sheets, and just like this random dude just comes in and can like take her from behind. She's like, that's like her thing. I don't know. Also, I don't know what imaginary boogie woman type thing kept on visiting her. Also didn't really get my head fully around that. Didn't really understand that. I thought that was, and I believe it's from A24. So it's like, you kind of have an expectation going into an A24 production that it's going to be like, okay, this is, we're going to see some shit. It's going to be different. It's going to be unique. It's going to be flavorful. And sure enough, it was. I mean, like it seemed very out of left field, and they never fully really explained it, I don't think, unless I zoned out. Even when they were tripping balls on those elderberries, quote unquote, out in the, what do they call it? The hills, the ravine. I don't know what you call that area. I don't think they really exposed that. The crows was wild. Like, I thought that was a nice little addition. Just having like, the crows. It kind of reminds me of, and I guess I don't know if these were being produced at the same time, but Everything Everywhere All at Once had that scene where the two rocks are talking to each other. And it feels like that might have been some subconscious spillover into Beef, because they had the two crows talking to each other. I think it was like the beginning of the last episode, the next to last episode, after Stephen Young and Ali Wong end up crashing their cars off the side of the cliff. Like, first of all, I don't know how they survived all that shit. Then I don't like. So you trip balls with someone once. It makes me wonder, like, how many relationships of mine would have thrived if we had just been in a life and like our lives were endangered. It just seems like that's the way, like, even after watching Ghosted on Netflix, it just seems like, oh, so that's the key to happiness and romance and a successful, long lasting relationship is you need to stare death in the face. You just need to engage in something where you risk your lives and obviously come out of it for the better. Like, that seems to be the case for every good relationship. You had to put it to the ultimate test by narrowly evading and escaping your demise together. That's the way to go. I think that was just a wild, like towards the end, just a wild turn of events. All that shit you guys went through, and yeah, I guess I get it. You're more similar than you thought originally. Does that make for a very healthy relationship? Probably not. But I guess that's what makes that show and that ending so good. Part of me still is like, it's hard for me to suspend my disbelief with that one. The fact that they were trying to friggin' absolutely murder each other repeatedly, and then to come out of it on the other side after tripping balls, that now you're going to go down that road. Very, like, we're just going to sweep all this under the rug. Like, she boned your brother and you catfished her husband, like, and kidnapped their daughter and got her boss murdered, and there's just a lot of bad stuff going around. So yeah, that's Beef. And it was, the timing couldn't have been more perfect, because it was like I ended up having like a road rage incident where, the guy ended up calling me an a-hole, which still, what was that, like 3 weeks ago? I still think about that. And I'm thinking, there's no way that guy's thinking about it. That guy, like, probably got over it 5 seconds after he yelled it in the middle of the road. I binged Beef quick. That was like 8-10 episodes. I finished that in like 3 days, I think. That was a quick watch. And I like that pairing, Stephen Young and Ali Wong. The husband was such a fart knocker. And I don't even know if I'm allowed to say that anymore. I guess I'm not. So he's just seemed like a pretentious, the kind of guy that I think my ex is probably going to end up with. Like, just so, I guess it's toxic positivity, like so toxically positive and like overly progressive type of thing, where it's like, I just, that would infuriate me. So and of course he was like, it didn't give me much faith in humanity. It almost felt like, my buddy always wanted me to watch the FX show. What the hell was that show called? What is it? FX shows. What the fuck was it called? I'm never going to remember it. You're Not All That. You're the Worst. You're the Worst, I think it was called. Was it You're the Worst? Yeah, You're the Worst. Begging me to watch this friggin' show. And I watch it and I'm like, well, they really are the worst. And it makes me feel bad about just getting out there and trying to make things happen. It's like, I get why you think I would like this, because it's essentially me times 7. It's just me in different forms. But I also don't know if I want to hold a mirror up to myself in that way. Like, I know I'm the worst, but to like watch it and try to get enjoyment from like seeing how like manifestations of my worstness in these characters, like, I don't know that that's the real route that I want to be taking right now. But yet, oddly enough, I could with Beef. And maybe it's because it was on Netflix and it could take it a step further. I don't know. I also binged and finished The Inside Job on Netflix. Animated series has Lizzie Kaplan as Reagan, who works at a shadow government organization. And her father is kind of a crackpot who used to work at the organization but was canned, voiced by Christian Slater. And it's got Clark Duke, who plays, I forget the dude's name, but he's like, Brady? No, that's not it. Brad? something like that. Just like an all-American, good-looking dude who's kind of a goofy doofus, very optimistic, overly basic, quote unquote. I hate saying that word, but like it's pretty much described him to a T. And I think what's his name? Adam Scott from Severance and Parks and Rec. He's also has a stint. He voices a character on it. I just liked it. It's like plays off the idea of like, okay, all your favorite conspiracies, real. Like lizard people, the Illuminati, JFK cloning, like everything. It's all the conspiracies are real, and they're all managed by these organizations that control all these elements to either distract you or to subliminally get across their messaging to influence world events and whatnot. So I liked it a lot. Very funny. Animation similar to Rick and Morty to a certain degree. With humor, kind of similar to Rick and Morty, like the dynamic between Reagan and her father is similar to Rick and Morty's dynamic. And there was like 2 parts, 10 episodes or something like that, but really good shit. I liked it a lot. Oh, John Daly, was he in it? Oh no, there's another guy I'm trying to think of. He was in Review on Comedy Central. Andy Daly? Yeah, Andrew Daly. One of the most underrated comedic actors of our generation. I just fucking said that. Andy Daly. If you've never seen Review on Comedy Central, it's pretty funny. It's where he's in like a suit and tie and just goes around like reviewing everything, and then he gets involved in all kinds of crazy stuff. But Review with called Review. But he's also been in a bunch of other stuff. I'm trying to think of his most. Oh yeah, it was Ben Franklin on The Office. I don't know if you remember that episode. I guess he's had voiced something on Rick and Morty too. Such a great dude. It needs to be in more stuff for sure. So yeah, The Inside Job. It did put me in a very weird headspace though, because I'd watch it before I go to bed, and then it had some pretty interesting. It either wouldn't get to sleep or I'd have some pretty interesting dreams. I watched John Mulaney's Baby J. This is his first special since the pandemic started, right? I think he had was a Kid Gorgeous or something like that, was in 2019. And then lots happened in the 2-3 years since then, where it's like the pandemic. He went to rehab for cocaine abuse or drug abuse. He divorced from his wife, had a kid, got together with Olivia Munn. So it's like he packed a lot, and he was busy during the pandemic. But I can't imagine having the balls that he did. And maybe it's part of his rehab. They were like, you know what you need to do? If you truly want to take the next step and get better, you need to tell all the stories that you've told in here on the stage, in front of people, televised, recorded, put it up for everyone to see. And it just takes a lot of, am I a fan of him cheating on his wife? No. But I think it was, you could tell the crowd was a little taken aback too. And I think that's a thrill for a lot of like veteran comics. Like stand up, I did stand up for off and on for 4 years, I guess. A total of times I've been on stage is like less than 100, probably less than 50, maybe 50 or less. Yeah, listening to like Jay Leno on Fly on the Wall, it's like even if you go a week where you're not on stage, you lose it. Like you literally have to be on stage almost every night in order to get good and smooth and professional. And if you go a week without being on stage, like you get rusty and you lose it, So, but I think part of the thrill for some veteran comics is the ability to, and I've heard comedians talk about this in interviews where it's like, they purposely try to dig the biggest hole for themselves and purposely try to lose the audience as much as possible to then win them back, because that's that shows to everyone else how good they are at their job. And I'm thinking to myself, I would never want to do that. I don't care how bored I am with the road or like telling the same fucking joke 10 million times in a row. I can't really ever think of being in that position where it's like, I'm going to completely alienate the fuck out of this crowd to the point where they get their pitchforks out and their torches, and then I'm going to win them back. But that, I don't think that was the case here. I don't think. But like the fact that he put a lot out there to this audience like right away, and it was the whole special of like really intense stuff to talk about that I don't know a lot of people talk about or you know, or especially want to see and hear in a comedy special, right? It's a lot of dark stuff, but he managed to make just about all of it very funny. So, you know, I give him kudos for that. Like, and I'm sure he's going to love that I gave him kudos, you know, that's huge for him. That's huge. But that's a must watch for me, dog. Was excited to see that the first 3 episodes of season 2 of Beavis and Butt-head, I put 2 in quotes because, I feel like this is like the new. They had the initial run on MTV from like 93 to 99, 97, 98 maybe. And then they brought it back when I was working at co-ed in 2011 for like a brief time. And now this is like the third reboot. I don't even know if you call it a reboot, but the third return tour. This is now season 2. I binged all of season 1 very quickly. I was just like, this is what's missing from my life. This is the key to happiness right here. Okay. How I've missed you. You're going to make everything better. And so when I saw that the first 3 episodes of season 2 were available, it's like I immediately binged all 3 of those, and very, very happy with just like their ability to change with the times, but ultimately not change the essence of the show and the characters. Like talking about meditation, you know, and doing a whole episode about that, and like having them being so mindless that they're actually awesome at meditation, and so they ascend to the higher level and they run into like Jesus and Buddha and Krishna. If is that a god? I don't know. And Zeus and Bill Gates. It's just like, and ultimately like annoying them and pissing them off and whatnot. Or like, to this day, I still think that Beavis is gonna score. I'm a sucker for that. I'm like, all right, this is it. And then of course it's like, how is he gonna mess it up? And Butthead always ruins it for him. But it is like they go hunting with what's his name? I do like the news segment. So I do like that they do like the Beavis and Butthead when they're older, showing them when they're older, where Butthead is like super overweight and balding, and Beavis is like still skinny, but like he's got the glasses and whatnot. And like, it's just so good to see them older. So I think that was a good wrinkle that they added last season. And then this season they added a new kind of wrinkle, which is like, was it Tom? I forget what his last name is, but Tom's War Stories, where like he basically is the precursor to Hank Hill from King of the Hill. I think it's Hank Hill, right? I don't know. I never watched King of the Hill, weirdly enough. But I thought the War Stories was an interesting little wrinkle too. So yeah, that's a must watch as well. I know we didn't. I wanted to like review Mandalorian each week, and I just never got around to it. How would I view season 3 as a whole? Kind of uneven, kind of inconsistent. Still must watch television every week. Kind of a weird ending. Don't know where they go from here. You still have this Throng dude who's kind of out there, ominously menacing. Like he's still like, what's his deal? I still don't understand how all the super troopers, they're not called super troopers. Jesus Christ. Broken Lizard. Stormtroopers have the best car armor, but like still they take like a couple shots in the armor and they're done for. They're like paralyzed, or like are they like the fainting goats? Like what's the deal there? I don't know, but you gotta feel like season 4, we're gonna see more of the mythosaur, maybe. It ended a little too happily. It was just like there's no kind of, unless was there a mid-credit scene or post-credit scene? No, I don't think so. But it's like, oh, it's just, Mando's got his feet kicked back in the rocking chair on the porch, and Baby Yo, Grogu is just like playing with frogs in the pond, and it just seems like so quaint. Like all is right in the world. And it's just like, they're not even going to tease season 4 here. They're just going to, he turned down all this other stuff because he just wants to go on random adventures. Like he's still this mercenary bounty hunter type guy, but he's like, I get to choose my missions. Like basically it's like the ultimate, it's the equivalent of, it's like every NBA player's wet dream, I think. It's just like, all right, well, I'm just going to play home games, and I'm only going to play against these teams, and I can't play on these dates. It's just like very selective in everything that he does. So yeah, I mean, there was the one episode that was a curveball where it was like, oh, we're just not going to do Mandalorian's not in this pretty much at all. And we're going to introduce these 2 other characters, the doctor and the commander Kane, or whatever her name is. And then we're going to have the one episode with like Lizzo and Jack Black. What the hell's going on there? That, and Christopher Lloyd. It was like, that was a little off the beaten path, sort of. You then suspected Axe Wolves of being like the mole, the spy, the traitor. There was talk about the armorer being the traitor, the spy. And then there were a lot of people saying that like, oh, well, friggin', what's his name? The main bad dude. I've already forgotten his name, because he, much like Darth Maul, it's like, wow, the hype on this dude is massive. And he's got the gravitas, and he's got the presence, and he's got like, on paper, he seems like such a good villain, but then he keeps getting like easily defeated. And you're just like, what the frig, dude? Moff Gideon. Can't believe I forgot that. Played by Esposito from Breaking Bad. It's like he's got the goods, but then like every time he battles and fights, like not great. Like Darth Maul, I feel like should be still alive. I don't know. There were also comparisons to what's her face, Brie of Tartan from Game of Thrones was in that Brienne Game of Thrones Star Wars character. Gwendolyn Christie, looking very good in that picture. Damn. Her character in one of the Star Wars movies. I think she was in 7 and 8. But at the same time, what was her character's name? She looked friggin' so badass. Captain Phasma. I mean, not the greatest name, but she had like all chromed out. It's like Star Wars has like these super badass, cool villains, but none of them hold a friggin' candle to Darth Vader, and none of them ever will. And maybe that's intentional, but goddamn, they have the great elements, and then they just fall flat. It's like, we need them to dominate. Still excited for season 4. I'm really cool. Like, I was not a huge fan of Bo-Katan when she was first introduced, I guess last season, but yeah, she's pretty awesome, dude. That season 3, she really shined, and probably Mando comes across as, it was interesting. I think what made, we talk about how Moff Gideon was easily defeatable, and so why it's hard to respect a dude like that when he seems to get his ass handed to him more times than not. Mando got his ass handed to him a bunch of times, but yet that makes him. I mean, there is a limit, right? You don't want him have to save his ass every episode, but it does feel like he does get himself into situations where it's like if he's, you know, if he's kind of flying solo, no friends, no partners, no allies, like he's toast. But in a way makes him a little more likable, I think, right? That he's getting his ass knocked out and knocked down, but he gets back up again, right? That kind of thing. But Bo-Katan is, I mean, the superior fighter, right? Like can wield and handle the Darksaber. Mando has struggles with it. Although I think it was important that in that last episode, in the final climax, the action scenes, that they do show Mando taking care of business. I think that was like huge. So, and Grogu's coming into his own. Grogu has been knighted and is a foundling who is now going to become, he's an apprentice. It's like he's moving up the ranks very quickly. You know, I thought it was hilarious that he gets into IG-11. It's now IG-12 and he controls it and he can do yes or no. And he goes, no. Like that's so funny. And those red knights, dude, or whatever they're called, those soldiers, those guards, which that appeared in whichever was that Rise of the Skywalker or the one before it, one of the new trilogy. They looked cool, but I don't know that they did much in that movie. This, at least in this TV show, you got to see them like be a little more badass. So, where are the Avengers going to take them next? I guess they felt like there is a small part of me is like, I don't know that they really had that strong a sense of what this season should be. And maybe they were just like, you know what, we're not feeling too strongly about this season. So we're just going to let the creative minds do their thing with each episode. And then we'll loosely connect them, tie them together. It's like it's a pro and a con in a way, because it's like it's good to get a little bit of variety here and there, but also it's like you don't want to go too far with it, because then it's like, well, it was so wacky last week, like a sitcom, but this week is very dark and grim. So I do think they need to wrangle it a little bit. But who am I? Who am I? So that's The Mandalorian. Saw a couple movies on Netflix. The Stranger with Joel Edgerton. This is an Australian film, and got pretty good reviews from critics and audiences on Rotten Tomatoes. I want to say in the 70 to 80% range for both, giving favorable reviews. Based on a true story, just not for me. I think it was, I understand they wanted to make you feel, the director, writer, like the whole tone wanted you to make you feel uneasy and on edge, to kind of put you in the same mindset as Joel Edgerton's character, who plays an undercover cop who is trying to basically arrest this guy who's been suspected of abducting, kidnapping a kid and potentially murdering the kid, because the kid has not been found, but they're like, he's probably dead. The amount of time and resources that went into catching this guy is kind of crazy. And I'm like, I almost want to see, and I guess this is what most manhunts are, but it's, I don't know, from a movie and TV standpoint, I always saw it as like almost like Prisoners, that movie where it's like there's a detective assigned to it and you follow him, and it's mostly just him trying to follow the trail and asking questions, blah, blah. And occasionally you'll see some support. You know, I know they did like an excavation at the one house or whatever, but for the most part, 90% of the movie, it's just the detective by himself, maybe talking to his boss about, and the boss being like, you've hit a dead end, you need to get off this case or something like that. This felt like the Hurt Locker version of that kind of movie, where it's like Hurt Locker, they spend an incredible amount of resources, manpower to deactivate or to disassemble these bombs that are all over the Middle East. And so it's just I was kind of blown away by that. That's like, I mean, the sheer volume of people involved in this operation just to catch this one guy was like mind blowing. The fact that pretty much every person you saw that this guy suspect interacted with was a cop. They were all cops, all of them undercover cops. The guy on the bus, the head boss, the dirty cop who was just an actual real cop. That's like, you know, it's just like all these people are undercover cops, and they're all to catch this one guy who has a track record of assault in history, but has served time already for assault for 2 years, but hasn't been caught or arrested or done anything for 20 years. Like, I believe in justice just as much as the next guy. I love justice, but it is just a little crazy that they would go to such lengths to catch this guy. Especially when, I mean, I guess he did violently assault or something, another kid. So there's 2 that they know of. Who knows if there's more? And I think they ended up saying that it was the largest case in Australian history or something like that, which could be true. Was also surprising to me because it's like I'm American. I live in America where it just seems like there's just fucking crime everywhere. There's so much worse crime going on, or it feels that way. You know, every day you see like shootings, stabbings, like it's just nonstop violence. So it's like and I guess if I watched it from as an Australian, having lived in Australia, more familiar with the story, it would have more of an impact on me. I'm glad they caught him. That's all I got to say. But it was a little like, holy shit. Like the lengths that they go to catch this guy are like incredible. And the fact that the one guy who's kind of a prick to the lead female detective was just like so adamant about like, no, we're not going to take this guy if we don't have any evidence. Like, it's like, dude, you got a friggin' confession that he calls a forced confession, but it was like a confession on tape. He's now led you to the scene of the crime. He's gone through all the details. You got to move on him. So just not for me. I think it was a slow burn, what they call it, a slow burn. The slow burns have never been my favorite. I can imagine, and like Joel Edgerton gives a stellar performance. I mean, you can really feel his pain, his anguish, his stress. I mean, he's seeing things, it's taking a toll on him, and he wants to see it through. So I think that was impressive. And even the dude, what's his name? Steve Harris or Sean Harris? No, that's not it. He was amazing. He's actually the guy on the poster. I think it's Sean Harris. Yeah, Sean Harris. I think he's on the poster. He's just got a severe look. It just cuts right through you. So they couldn't have casted that any better. And him and Joel Edgerton. My mind is so weird that at one point I thought that like my sci-fi brain kicked in, even though it's based on a true story, and I know that. My sci-fi brain kicks in, and I'm like, what if the twist is that Sean Harris is just Joel Edgerton but older? You know what I mean? Like somehow Joel Edgerton's older self like managed to go back in time, and so now he's gonna, I don't know. That was the thought that went through my head. It was just like, oh my God. I mean, good movie, well shot. Just a little slow. I mean, there is that kind of slow. I mean, I don't know what the fluttering was. There was this fluttering sound effect that they played at the beginning and throughout like key points in the movie. And I'm still trying to figure out what the fluttering was. I don't know what it was, but it almost like they wanted it like the fluttering of an insect's wings. So I was thinking like a fly or a gnat or mosquito. And in most cases, most people would be annoyed by that. So I guess that's the intended effect of that sound effect is like we want it we through our soundtrack, through our audio and our songs, but also through our sound effects, we're trying to get you uneasy about this whole thing. It's like mission accomplished, dude. Kudos. I'm not going to give a full review on Dragged Across Concrete. This is a movie that came out in 2018, a crime drama starring Mel Gibson and Vince Vaughn. It's written and directed by Craig Zahler, who did Bone Tomahawk and Brawl in Cell Block 99. Both of those movies have incredible reviews, or like well reviewed on Rotten Tomatoes, both I guess from an audience standpoint and from critics. I just cannot bring myself to watch them. And after watching this movie, I kind of don't want to watch them either. Not to say that Dragged Across Concrete is bad. Like, I think it was a good movie, but 2 hours and 40 minutes, you could have cut out, you could have get this down to 2 hours easy. Easy could have got it down to 2 hours. Gibson and Vaughn play like these two detectives who are like, don't play by the book. They kind of play outside the rules. They bend the rules. They're caught on tape, like abusing a suspect on camera or whatever. And so one is suspended and the other one's like trying to propose to his girlfriend. And so they have an all right rapport, like a decent chemistry. Could have been a lot better, I thought. But then you have this other sub story with, what's his name? Oh, so Don Johnson plays the chief lieutenant who used to be Mel Gibson's partner. Just very interesting commentary throughout that's like very like not subtle at all, about kind of making commentary about how the news is entertainment now, and it got a little political. There was a whole like another, so there's the plot between Vaughn and Gibson. And then there is another plot where they go off on a tangent with this bank teller dude. The bank teller thing was like crazy. This woman had a baby. She went on maternity leave, but then she like couldn't bring herself to go back to work and separate herself from her kid, which postpartum, I think, it's a real thing. And then she gets to work and that's when the bank is robbed and she gets killed. And it's just like, what was the point of that? To just make me feel for this character that's going to get killed and just like rip my heart out and my guts are all over the friggin' floor, dude. There was a scene where it's Vaughn and Gibson in the car and Vince Vaughn is eating a sandwich for like fucking 5 minutes. I get they were trying to be funny with it. It was just not like, is the juice worth the squeeze there? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know that was really something that, I don't know. I just, so there's the other plot is Henry Johns, that's played by Tori Kittles, and Michael J. White is Biscuit. They're hired by these crime bosses. I don't know, this organization to help them rob the bank. And so Gibson and Vaughn follow their trail and they're on to them. And it gets pretty, that final scene at that warehouse is pretty gnarly and brutal. And that's like probably the best stretch of action that you're going to see in the whole movie. But the woman that had to crawl across the concrete and then ends up shooting. Oh my God. So yeah, a decent movie. Just didn't need to be 2.5 hours long, 2 hours and 40 minutes. And then also like very overt in the like political messaging. But, it kind of ends in a way that you probably don't expect. given all that overt kind of messaging that happens at the beginning of the movie, I don't think this movie passes the Bechdel test. Not that they probably did that on purpose. I mean, one of the very first scenes where they're interrogating that woman who just got out of the shower is completely nude. They don't give her any clothes or a towel, and they make her stand under a fan as she's like freezing wet. So I honestly, I don't think you need to watch it. I've doled out a lot of recommends in my life, and I don't know that this is one of them. It's an okay movie. I mean, I don't think you're gonna hate it. I just don't even think it could have been. It was good. I don't know. If I had to do it all over again, I probably went on and watched it. According to many associated with the production, it was long thought that this film would have a wide theatrical release in the US. However, it was rumored that Lionsgate requested the film be edited down to an audience-friendly 130 minutes, which was met with much disdain from the director Craig Zoller. I mean, yeah, 130 minutes would have been perfect. Nice and tight. Still got, average 6.9 out of 10 from critics and 7 out of 10 from top critics. Audience was a 3.5 out of 5. I'd probably go a little bit lower than that. I don't know. It was just on the cusp of being fresh. As grim and grinding as its title, dragged across concrete opts for slow burning drama instead of high speed thrills and just the right cast to make it work. Again, I just don't know if I'm a fan of the slow burn. So I'll quickly go through. I'm not gonna do John Wick Chapter 4 or Tetris today. I'll quickly go through two of the other movies. I don't even know if I talked about these yet. There's a whole bunch over here. Murder Mystery 1 and 2 and The Wrong Missy. Murder Mystery 1 and 2 are good. They're okay watches. I mean, like, you gotta know what you're getting into with Adam Sandler movies. And I like, to a certain degree, I like Jennifer Aniston's quirkiness. And I think they play well off of each other, Sandler and Jennifer Aniston. And of course, they have all these crazy, quirky characters around them, which is pretty cool. And it's good late night watch, if you're just like, want to turn your brain off and play a nice little murder mystery game with yourself or with the friends and family. So I was like hesitant to watch. I was like, I think because I was so, I mean, there was such a hot stretch for Adam Sandler with Happy Gilmore, Billy Madison. I wasn't a big fan of Little Nicky. I don't think I was that high on Mr. Deeds, but like Big Daddy, I think that was awesome. And then what was the last one that I really liked? I mean, there's a Waterboy, but it's been I've more appreciated like Uncut Gems and Hustle than I did any of his other comedy movies that recent. Like I didn't watch Sandy Wexler. I didn't watch Jack and Jill or whatever the hell that movie was with Al Pacino. So it's been a while. So like Murder Mystery 1 and 2, it felt like that's like a nice groove for him. Although, what was it? The Do the Right Thing or Do Right? That wasn't too bad, I guess. I was very disappointed and bummed by his movie with Andy Samberg, though. It was a little bummed, but I wanted that to be a lot better. So, but yeah, Murder Mystery 1 and 2 hit the spot, scratch the itch, I guess. There's nothing terribly that offensive about it. I just wish these actresses would stop fucking with their faces, You're beautiful as you are. Stop messing around with your face. And then The Wrong Missy. I finally caved in because my sister and brother-in-law had said it that they liked it, so I ended up watching it. And it's just like, this movie would have been perfect-ish if it came out right in that heyday for David Spade. If you somehow transported like current Lauren Lapkus back to prime David Spade, so in his like 30s, this movie would have been really great. But I could not get over the fact that it's just two wildly different ages. I just couldn't buy it. I mean, Lauren Lapkus, that's pretty much been the main takeaway that everyone has from the movie, is that she gives an amazing comedic performance, and I completely agree with that. But the moment where I was like, all right, I think I'm out on this movie. I mean, I watched the whole thing, and there's certainly a lot of good points to take away from it. Like, not completely awful. But the moment where I was like, they didn't need to include that, and it probably ruined the movie for a lot of people, was where she just falls off the fucking, what was it, the cliff? Where she dives off the cliff or falls off the cliff, and it's like you're dead. You die. You don't survive that. What is going on? Like that, at that point, I was like, all right, this movie might have just jumped the shark for me. I continued watching, and there was an actual shark in the movie. But ultimately, I guess you wouldn't be able to make that movie when David Spade's heyday, because it's the whole inciting incident for this movie is like cell phones and saving a cell phone number as the same name for two different contacts. So that would be tricky to do it in David Spade's heyday. And when I say David Spade's heyday, he's 58, right? This movie came out in 2020, so that would have made him 55, 54. Lauren Lapkus is 37, so she was probably 35 during that movie. You're talking about a 20-year age difference. And, knowing my luck and knowing how everything's going on and knowing how fucked up life is, I'm probably going to be 58 and like end up dating a 37-year-old. That'll be fun. But if you could just somehow magically, and maybe that's the future of cinema, where it's like you can pick almost like, I don't know if they do this in Madden. I'm pretty sure they do this in Madden, where you can pick like legend teams. So like the 86 Giants versus the 99ers, or like, the 2007 Giants versus the 1976 Steelers or something like that. And like, we're going to get to a point before I die, swear to God, like in the year 2070, where it's like you can take, and none of this Irishman bullshit where it's like we take a 94-year-old Robert De Niro and try and put him on like a 20, like, and just de-age his face, but keep like him as an actor and his body, trying to kick the shit out of someone and looking like an old man. Not that. I'm talking about you just put the actor's face and voice, and you're able to put that on an actor's stand-in, someone who's of age, 20-ish, 30-ish, whatever age. And then we're going to be able to do like insane movies 2070 with like the best actors. So I feel like if you could have done that with the Wrong Missy, that would have been huge. It was just tough. I don't know. I guess I'm a prude that way. And I love David Spade. I mean, I listened to Fly on the Wall, like I said, with his podcast, Dana Carvey. I love it. I binged the whole thing very quickly. So good. And the movie, I don't know. I guess, do people like Benchwarmers? I think Benchwarmers is a movie that I think a lot of people love. That came out in 2006, 2008. And that's another movie I haven't seen yet. Like, I just think about like Father of the Year got pretty badly reviewed. The Do-Over that came out in 2016, that wasn't too bad. I think I liked that a little bit. The Ridiculous Six, I think I tried to start and watch, and I was just like, oh my God, I can't do this to myself. And then the Grown Ups 1 and 2, I guess, are decent. That's along the lines of a murder mystery, like pretty easiest watch. Benchwarmers though, 06. I don't know if I can ever bring myself to watch that. I don't know why. But if the Wrong Missy came out instead of 2023, it came out in 2003, like after Joe Dirt, but before Dickie Roberts, I think that would have been ideal. But it was just tough. Like, it was just tough. So it's Murder Mystery 1 and 2 and the Wrong Missy. Yet another week where I don't talk about John Wick Chapter 4. Came out so long ago, and I've been meaning to review it for so long, and there's been so many reviews that are out so far to the point now where it's like, what is the point? It's fucking ruled. There's the review. So good. But I guess I'll have to wait for another time. Thank you so much for listening, for watching, for putting up with this goddamn malarkey. I appreciate you. I respect you. I adore you. I need you. And we'll talk to you next episode. Maybe it'll be next week. Maybe it'll be next month. Maybe it'll be next year. I don't know. Dude, quit your bitching. What's the rush? Got plenty of time. All right. Adios, muchachos.